You don't fear failure. You fear the social implications of that failure. And this may sound very obvious to you, but there is a clear distinction between the two. And if we truly want to diagnose your life and the issues that you have, we have to diagnose the symptoms to the right disease. That is the very first step to curing it, after all. And so the distinction is you don't lack the ability to do something. Rather, you lack the pain tolerance of social exclusion. And obviously, when the implications of social exclusion is simply a vague idea to you, you will simply say, no, I do have the ability to tolerate it. But when we make it a real part of your life, in the form of your parents, perhaps having a lot of arguments with them about going to university or doing this as your career pathway, or your friends leaving you behind in a past memory because they're doing their own things and you're no longer really the same people, or perhaps your girlfriend or potential girlfriend looking at you in a way that is extremely heartbreaking to you. These are all very real world examples of the social exclusion that you will get when you try and do something outside of the dominant culture. And we all know what the dominant culture demands of us, especially in the West. For me, for you, it's that we go to university, get a degree that we'll never use, in a job that we'll always hate, in a marriage that we probably don't even want to be in, that will probably end because over 50% of marriages end. And so if we know this, but we do it regardless, what does that say about our choices? It means that you don't care if you fail or not. It's rather you care about being excluded or not. Because when you're in the dominant culture and you do go to university and you do all these things, you're simply suffering collectively. And so you have the security of suffering with everyone else. You have a level of comfort that you will experience as a result. You will know, okay, I'm not doing very well in life, but hey, it's okay because my friends are exactly the same. They're also unhappy in their relationships. They're also doing a job that they don't want to do. So since we're all losing together, we're not losing at all. And I'm still going to be included. I'm still going to be a part of society. And so that's the reason why it's so hard to do anything outside of dominant culture. Because the number one thing I want you to understand is that it is completely natural for you to experience the uncertainty of doing something that you've never done before. The uncertainty of whether you're going to make it or not. The possibility of failure, and as a result, your friends, your family members leaving you behind doing their own thing, making you just a memory of the past. Such emotions are completely normal when you are trying to do something that not many other people are doing. You have a level of FOMO because you think that the possibility of failure is the possibility of dying alone. Because if you fail and that's it, which is highly unlikely to begin with, you're going to get left behind. And you're gonna be a social recluse and no woman is going to like you and you're not gonna have a relationship, and at the end of the day you're going to die alone. And so often this prospect of dying alone seems a hell of a lot worse than you suffering with the collective, in a job that you hate, in a marriage that's going to end, and with people that, face it, probably don't like you to begin with. But if we understand that it is completely natural for you to feel this way when you are doing something that no one else is doing and you're pioneering in a different field, you're doing something irregardless of whether you know or not you're going to succeed, you get to the second point, which is if you understand that it's natural, you can build up thick skin and you can understand the pathway to mastery, that it's the very way to master really anything in life, where you start off sucking at that thing and gradually, after a very long time, sucking so little that you have the appearance of actually being competent at that thing. And whether that thing is being extremely rich, or something else entirely that no one's ever thought of, that only you want to do, you will get there regardless. And the feeling that you have right now of uncertainty, of FOMO, of loneliness is the natural symptom of doing something no one else is doing, because every single person who's ever tried to do something extraordinary has felt exactly the same feeling, has had the exact same doubts, and has had a similar level of loneliness in trying to achieve this great thing. And so thirdly, you come to the question you have to answer if you truly want to proceed in life. And it's, do you A, choose the privilege of suffering collectively, but for a medium to mild amount of discomfort for the rest of your life, or B, choose the stigma of suffering alone in a field that no one else is doing for a chance to win the lottery? But the thing is, number one, you're going to suffer regardless. And so you have the choice of suffering for a medium amount of time for the rest of your life, or having all of that suffering compartmentalized in your early periods of life. And the thing is, the chances of winning the lottery, unlike real life, is 100% as long as you don't quit. And whether it takes 1 year or whether it takes 20, you have to make the final decision. And for some, they're completely okay with suffering as long as everyone else is suffering with them. And the question for you is whether you want to do A or B. Do you want to suffer collectively for a long period of time, or suffer alone for an uncertain amount of time for a chance to win the lotteries that you will win regardless? You see, the ramifications of suffering collectively is seen in the way society works, because every single person loves the underdog. The reason why is that they can place their dying dreams upon that person, the unfulfilled dreams and ambitions that they, for whatever reason, never achieved. They can then place it and live vicariously through the person who's trying to do something hard. That is also the reason why no one roots for the winner, because winning isn't relatable. This is the reason why entertainment is such a big part of our society. Everyone is suffering, and so most of the decisions, most of the popular things in life is to numb the mild to medium amount of suffering that we have every single day. That is why music exists. That is why entertainment exists. That is why there is a lot of people, a lot of young men today, who live vicariously, meaning their own mind, their id, their subconsciousness is somewhere else. And they live vicariously through video game characters. Because in the real world, they're an above to below average loser who doesn't really have everything figured out, who wastes a lot of time, who just does whatever, life throws at it, and it's just blowing around like a feather in the wind. But in the gaming world, he's a warlock with level 80 stats, and everyone looks up to him and asks for advice from him, and asks for him to carry them or do something in League of Legends or this or that. And so it's not just in video games, it's in anime, it's in manga, and all of the alternatives, the manhwa, blah, 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 the Korean, the Chinese version of the manga. All of these avenues of vicarious living numb their suffering. This is the reason why streaming has become so popular, because you can live a parasocial relationship through these streamers like Marlon, Aiden, Ross, Speed, and Clavicular. Clavicular, in fact, and the whole black pill movement is such a big example of someone trying to numb their mild to medium amount of suffering, because they're simply trying to make sure that they suffer a little bit less by increasing the value that society finds important, which is your looks and everything else. But that is a point outside of everything else, because what you will probably understand is that you will never truly experience a level of freedom, a level of fulfillment from doing any of these things. You will simply be numbing yourself. And so the question becomes, can you handle the social rejection of failure? It's easy until you think about the very real world implications of you perhaps suffering for very long bouts of times with the uncertainty of whether you're going to succeed or not for a chance to win the lottery. If you like this video, subscribe and comment on what you want to do and the choices that you have between what everyone else wants you to do and what you want to do. And perhaps I can also help you with that as well.